Okay, there we go. We're officially recording. But before I go into my chatter, I'll just open it up first to you guys. Do y'all have any initial questions or concerns or, thoughts that you want to throw out before I start to chattering away? Anything? Okay, while you guys think about that, I'm gonna go ahead and share my desktop. And y'all should see our wonderful class. All right. And then let me go to the chat. Nearing to my topic. Okay, great. Thank you for asking both of those things. Okay, so first of all, it's okay if you don't have any questions right now. But then, Kaylin, you said, I feel like I'm having some trouble narrowing down my topic. Okay, that's okay. So I'll definitely help you tackle that. Let me kind of go through some initial things if y'all don't mind. I just want to kind of hit on some main points that I want to make sure that you and your whole class know as you guys dive into crafting your presentations. And then I will be more than happy to help you narrow down your topic. Does that sound okay? Okay, good deal. All right, let me. It's always so awkward to do it via Zoom because I always feel like I'm like looking around all crazy. All right, so you guys should see our beautiful class platform. If you guys scroll down, you should see PowerPoint presentation help. So I hope you guys have tackled looking through it, but let's just say hypothetically that you guys have not, and that's okay if you haven't. But the due date, it's not tomorrow, so you guys still have time for all of those who might be procrastinating and haven't had a chance to even look or really flesh out your topic yet. You again still have plenty of time because we're just now in October. And if you click on PowerPoint requirements, you'll see that it's not due until November 24th. So again, you guys still have time, which is a beautiful thing. So I received most of your topics and I've approved every single one of them because every single one of you have chosen at least a broad category that I think is a-okay to dive into for this class. So I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to come up with. But what I'm looking for in this PowerPoint presentation is a few things. I do not want to have a PowerPoint presentation just read to me. Okay, so the first time I had this assignment, I didn't think about the fact, and let me clarify that. When I first started teaching, I kind of did that, and that's horrible to admit, isn't it? I was so nervous as a new instructor. I'd look at the PowerPoint and I hate to admit it, but I would kind of read off some of those bullet points. And I thought to myself after midway through that first semester, that is horrible. And if I was one of those students, I would want to slap myself, right? So don't be me, all right? Don't be first year teaching Callie. So don't read off of your bullet points. Don't read off of your slides. I can read perfectly fine, okay? And I love to read, but I don't want to be read to. What I would like to see in your PowerPoint presentations, and let me show you, let me go back. So since it has to be an APA format, it lends itself to where you guys are going to be better able to teach me. And by that I mean, the format of APA lends itself to where you're going to be telling a story. So with whatever your topic you pick, and let me scroll down to kind of show you what I mean. Um, Hold on. Okay. So you're going to have content, right? And you notice on this side it says include pictures and words as citations for both. Do not have full paragraphs for information being presented. I don't want a book on each paragraph, each slide. So if you're talking about the history of policing, I don't want to see in 1902 such and such happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. I don't want that. So a better way to do that would say, have a bullet point and say something to the effect of 1891 was the first year in which police force was founded in this city. Boom, that's it. And then verbally in your narration, and this is where the fun part comes through, verbally tell me about it. Tell me a fun fact about it. Tell me something that stood out to you. So again, imagine your storytelling. Now, if you get nervous speaking, even if it's through this format, Again, I don't want this to be a hair-pulling event for anybody. You can have a script, okay? So you can write down kind of what you want to say, but again, I don't want you to sound like you're reading, okay? Because there's 52 of y'all. So just let me emphasize, there's 52 of y'all, so I'm gonna have to listen to 52 narrated PowerPoints, which I'm actually really excited about. But make it fun for me, okay? Have fun with it. So again, I hope that you chose a topic that you're interested in because if you didn't, it's not going to be fun, right? So the other thing I want to point out is as you're diving into your topic, if you find yourself going, "Holy cow, I'm really not digging this topic," you can change it. There's still plenty of time to do that. Just let me know as soon as possible because I want to make sure that, again, you're tackling a topic that makes sense for this course. And I can help you in the event that maybe like you, Caitlin, if you need help narrowing it down, then I'm on your team. I'll be more than happy to help you do that. And the reason why I decided to make these PowerPoint presentations become be required in APA format is because again, it lends itself to try to limit you. It makes you stay in your lane instead of filling each PowerPoint slide with a billion different topics and a billion different PowerPoint bullet points and just like overwhelming me, drowning me in bullet points. It kind of limits you. It's saying make it clean. Okay? APA supports you to make a clean slide that is visually easy to digest. And have you ever been in a class? And I know I'm guilty of this, so I'm kind of preaching to the choir here because I look at some of my slides and I'm like, bad, bad, Dr. Shaw. Because some of my slides are a little heavy and they shouldn't be, right? Because if you put too much stuff on a slide, it doesn't stick, right? There's just too much stuff. So you're kind of just drowning in words. And again, that's why I added that component of talking. So that way I'm looking at a few things on your slide. Pictures are great. You can absolutely use pictures. Visuals are a-okay. I love them. But make sure you put within those what am I looking at? So don't just put in a picture of like a cartoon dog. Tell me why you're including the cartoon dog, right? So make sure you put in those citations underneath it, those captions. But verbally walk me through your slide. You're telling a story, okay? And the other reason why I encourage you to really have fun with this project and to experience it. And by experience it, I mean practice what you're going to say before you even start recording, is because as a CJ major, you should be working on your communication skills. I don't care what level of CJ you guys go in, you're going to have to talk to a lot of people at a whole different wide range of socioeconomic levels, cultures, geographic regions. And so as a result, you need to know how to talk. And if you're not comfortable speaking, it's going to make your job harder. So this is just one of those ways to practice. And what a more easy way to practice than in the safety of your home to where you can click stop and backtrack and re-record if you mess up. It's really all the power, all the control is in your hands. So again, it's okay to make mistakes. You can always, go over and redo it. And again, this is just something additional to help you guys become more competent professionals, especially in our field. So APA formatting is extremely important. I didn't used to be so tough on it, but within the last semester and a half for this assignment in particular, I am pretty hard on it because the better your APA is, the better your slides are, which means the better you're going to be able to story tell. Okay. And let me go back. If I'm talking too fast, guys, I'm sorry. I've had a lot of coffee, like always. Let's see. PowerPoint requirements, already went over that, I think. Here's the grading rubric. So I included the grading rubric for you guys to look at, and you'll see that you've all already had your topic approved. So that's already 5 points covered, right? You're already there. As long as you submit it by the deadline, that's another 5 points already done. Now, APA formatting, that is 5 points. Make sure that it's correct. Organization. You should have a flow to your presentation. So think of it again like a story. And let me get this out. Hold on. So this is one of my favorite books. If you're into like historical kind of fun topics, Sarah Val is a great author. And this book is called Assassination Vacation. And just fun fact, she goes over all the presidents and who's tried to assassinate them and their backstories, and it's fascinating. But nonetheless, there's a flow to her storytelling, right? She doesn't just like flip back and forth in time. She goes sequentially in time, and then she also, through her storytelling, starts before they even had that thought, before they even had the motivation to do that crazy act. And she brings the readers along. So, likewise, when you are telling me your story, make sure your slides flow. I don't want you to go from this is when policing started and this is excessive force, right? So, make sure that your topic flows, that there's a transition that makes sense within your storytelling and your narration. And that goes into your organization points. Through your content, make sure that the information that you choose fits your topic. Okay, so last semester when I taught this course, there's a wonderful student who was covering excessive force, and the majority of their presentation was actually on police officer mental health. And I was like, bummer, because both topics are phenomenal, but you chose excessive force, but yet the majority of your slides are on officer mental health. That's not good content because that's not supporting your main topic. So again, make sure the content that you choose actually supports and fleshes out the topic that you chose. Visual design, make sure again that your slides look great. Don't make them boring, right? So I don't want to just see white with black letters and nothing else. This isn't prison. So don't, unless you're covering prison, I don't know, maybe that would work. But try to make it at least a little nice. You don't have to be a graphic designer, but try your best to make it visually appealing. And if you need help with that, let me know. Let's see, what else do I have to tell you? In terms of narration, for those of you who this may be new for you, I do have, where is it? Oh, a video walkthrough on how to narrate your PowerPoint. Now, I know some people have different uh programs that they're using, and if that's the case, try to YouTube it because I don't know how to narrate programs that are not PowerPoint. But I prefer PowerPoint because in the past I've had a few students use other programs and off that I can't remember what they even were on the top of my head, but I can help you if it's not PowerPoint. But this video should help you narrate PowerPoint. So use it, practice it, see if you're comfortable with it. And if you guys have any problem using it, you're welcome to come by my office and I can walk you through in person how to do it. It's usually a little easier in person. Or we can set up a Zoom and I can help you that way too. So now that I've talked your ear off very quickly, I'll open it up to you guys. What questions do you have? And is there anything that you want to double check on or anything like that? And I'll stop sharing so that way I can see. There we go. And let's see, Sarah said, can you briefly walk through the APA formatting? I haven't had to do a presentation with APA formatting. Oh, absolutely. So let me go back to sharing. Do, 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 do. All right. So APA formatting, I think it's easier. It sounds scary, Sarah, but I promise you it actually makes it much easier. So the title slide, you can make it look however you want. You don't have to have this visual or anything like that. But you're going to have to make sure that you have the title of your paper, or not paper, sorry. Don't mean to scare you. The title of your presentation, what are you studying, if it's officer mental health or whatever it is, your name, and then A&M Corpus Christi, and that's it. That's your title slide, right? And hold on, Kayla, I'll get to your question here in just a second. That's a good question too. And then as you walk through, let me go this way. Hold on. Sorry, I'm just trying to move this real quick so I can see. Okay, there we go. Now on the titles on the content slides, there is something you should note that they should have titles at the top of every single slide. So there should never be a slide with nothing at the top. Each one should designate what is on that slide, right? So the formatting of these also matters. So for these titles include the main words, they should be capitalized and spelled in full. So instead of saying continued, like CON apostrophe T or CONT apostrophe D period, you write out the whole word, continued, right? From mental health and Corpus Christi or whatever it is. And then also, if you're using a continued slide, you also should use it if one topic has more than 8 bullet points of information. So if you have something that has more than 8 bullet points of information, you should try to split it up into at least 2 slides. Again, because APA wants very clean, concise slides. So the cleaner, the more visually efficient the slide is, I guess that's a good way to put it, the better, right? And here is an example of that. So formatting titles on slides, full words. Each word, each main word is capitalized. If you can see in like on all those type of words, you don't have to capitalize, but the main words are all capitalized. Excuse me. And that you're not putting too much on each slide. So again, avoid paragraphs unless, I will put a caveat to that, unless you have like a direct quote that is very important that you want to highlight. I've had students in the past that did interviews with police officers, and there was a quote that they wanted to highlight, and the quote was, paragraph. Then that makes sense. If you want to include that, then that absolutely makes sense. But just pick and choose carefully as to what type of information you want to include. And then if you want to further continue that information, like let's say if there's more than 8 bullet points, then you'll put continued at the end of that slide title from before. And let's see. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not forgetting anything big. And with your pictures or your graphs or anything like that, make sure that underneath you give a citation if you include a chart or a graph from a source. And if you include a visual that is highlighting or reflecting a point that you want to make, like if you want to include like a cartoon dog or something like that, make sure you put a little caption underneath stating why that picture is there. So if you're using a GIF, if you're using a meme or something like that, then that's fine. Just put underneath it a little caption stating why it's there, right? Just don't put like a random a random banana meme or something, right? Um, let's see. Da, da, da. Trying to see if I'm forgetting anything. And here's a good example. So if you're using like a chart from a specific source, this is how you would include it, caption it underneath that chart or statistic or visual that you're including, if you're including something like that within your presentation. And if you're using clip art or stock images like this, like you know how Microsoft Word has stock art, you don't have to cite those because those are stock art. So you don't have to do anything like that for those type of images. So it does give you examples of how you should design your slides. So as you guys can see, this bottom right-hand slide, it's terrible, right? Because you can barely see what the words are because the words just are lost within that background. It just looks awful. Whereas the one on the top is much cleaner, right? So again, think about your design styles for your slides. Think about cleanliness of the information being presented and how you would respond to that type of slide if you were sitting in class, right? Would you look at it and say, what is this professor doing? Or would you say, oh, that's a cool slide, right? Let's see. Make sure that you end all the bullet points with a period versus ending each bullet point without a period. Small, but important. And then formatting the end, the references section. They should, of course, be in APA format. If you click on this link, it'll take you directly to how to do that. Now, I want to warn you guys about something that I just realized actually was something I was working on with another colleague. So this was really crazy to me. So my colleague has ChatGPT Plus, or what the upped version of it, a premium, I guess. I don't know. And we had all of our references for work that we were doing. And she wanted to see if ChatGPT could check all the references that we're doing and put it in APA format. So she threw them all in there and it spit them out and it looked perfect. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. That saves us so much time. But then when we were checking them, I realized it had hallucinations and it literally replaced some of the journal article titles and volume numbers with ones that didn't even exist. And had we not gone through there and looked at that, it's a big deal, right? And it's quite embarrassing. Because if you submit that, that's, again, not a good thing. So if you do that, just be aware, I would go back and double check whatever it gives you because sometimes it hallucinates and gives you incorrect citations. So I really would avoid using something like that because I'm telling you, we had, I think in total 56 citations, and out of that 56, it gave us 16 hallucinations. So not good. So try to do it using the this link right here. And if you guys need any help or if you would like me to look over your draft, I'm happy to do that, by the way. So um, I'm also going to open it up a little bit closer to that date for a review time, meaning I'm going to open it up if you want me to review your PowerPoint for period of time and I can kind of give you some pointers on some things that you might need to tweak. I'll also do that. So let me look back at your question real quick. Caitlin, you asked if using pictures in the slides, do you want an APA citation of where we got it or just a caption describing what the photo is? It depends, right? So if you're using, um, let's say, and I'm trying to think of an example. If you go to Police One. There's an online source called Police One. They have good articles. If you're using a picture from their online source, I'm okay with you putting underneath it the website, like the link, the web link, and a caption stating if it's just a weird, not weird, sorry, wrong word. If it's a picture of like a man arresting somebody and it really doesn't, I'm not sure how it pertains to your information. I would like a caption saying, demonstrates the punitive nature of policing or something to that effect, and then include that web link, right? Um, Now, if I'm trying to think, if you're using a chart though, a graph, a chart that you've pulled off of a site, definitely include the more formal citation there. And it gives, let me go up so I can show you. There we go. This right here. So that's a little more formal. So I would say figure one, example of whatever it is. And then here you're going to give the author last name or the site, and then the year in which it was published on that site or whatever source you pulled it off of. And then, of course, give the full citation at the end within the references section. Does that make sense? Absolutely. So if I was y'all, and I was tackling this assignment, again, I would ask yourselves first, do I like my topic? I know it sounds silly, but you've got to like the topic that you're diving into. If you don't like it, then it's going to be brutal. So ask yourself whether you like your topic, and if you do, rock on. The second thing I would suggest is have a Microsoft Word document or an Excel document and throw in all your citations as you find them. Don't wait till last minute and go backtrack. That's painful. Don't do that to yourself. I've done that and it's horrible. So instead of doing that, every time you find a website or a journal article or a source of some kind, copy, paste it into Microsoft Word, save that as your PowerPoint narrated project references list. Have it on your desktop to where you can just go back to it, and then it's not going to be so hard fleshing out your references section for your PowerPoint. Um, and again, I would be comfortable enough with your topic that you can tell that story. I am going to be grading, not hard. I'm not going to be like hammering down on y'all. But I do want to be told a story, and I want you guys to, I want to hear within your narration the comfortableness with your topic because I'll be able to tell whether or not you've really researched this topic. If I hear you guys just reading off a page, I'm gonna be like, oh, they really didn't dig into this, right? So it'll tell me much more if I hear you guys just talking about it. And I want you to think about, and I've said this in many of my classes for those of you who've had me before, but if you can explain something to Bob at the bar, and I know it sounds silly, but we've all known that person at a random place that is sitting there and they start a random conversation with you, right? If you can explain something really complicated to somebody like that, then you know that topic, right? I once had to describe due process to somebody like that, and I was able to do it. And in my head, I was like, score. I know that. Boom, mic drop. So likewise, I want you guys to constantly think as you're building your narration, is this explaining this topic well to Bob at the bar? Am I telling this story well? That's what I want from this project. Okay. Again, I don't want robots. I want you guys to talk and have fun with this assignment. So again, I'm here for you guys. And if you two have any more questions, I'm going to stay on longer. But absolutely, I'm here. You guys know I'm here pretty much all the time. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday for sure, noon to 2:30. I'm not going to be here this Friday, meaning tomorrow, because I'll be at the Halloween carnival. But otherwise, I'm here all the time. And if you prefer meeting on Zoom, I can do that as well, or you can send out smoke signals, whatever. And that's about it. But I'm going to stop recording now. And that way, if you guys have some more questions as well, then you can ask away. But thanks, guys. Okay, so let me stop recording.